all of that brought all these little elements into the picture and fine-tuned me. And through that, I started to discover more and more about my voice, about what I want to express, what is interesting, what stories I want to tell. And I got to write, direct, and play in my own short film for our thesis, which was such a mind-blowing journey. You can hear me now.
Sani. It's so great to see you again.
It's wonderful to see you as well. Thank you for taking the time to...
No, that's a great pleasure. And you look stunning, just as you looked in Stadtpark when I saw you with your little dog.
Yeah, she's right here by my side.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes. How's your day going? I love the hearts on your shirt.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm a heart person.
You and I would definitely connect on that note.
Absolutely. Oh, that's great. Great to know. Oh, and that you noticed it as well.
Details. I always pay a lot of attention to details. There's a lot to communicate and understand from just the little minor details that people get to choose daily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also read that I saw a quote. I don't know if it's your quote, but you said that life is a canvas and we are all the colors of the painting.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and that's so true.
I always feel like life and this journey that we've all embarked on in our own way, it's this movie that, again, being an actor, it's a movie that you get to unravel the stories through the experiences. And it's so interesting. Growing up, I always saw that everyone likes the same thing and they want the same kind of goals and achievements in life. But as I grew up, I experienced more life and people and realized, wow, everyone has such a unique as our fingerprints, and no two experiences are the same. So that was very fascinating to kind of bring it into a painting, because that's another realm of another medium that I really like to use to express my feelings.
Yeah, but you are so multi-talented. I see, singer, dancer, painter, and actress. It's amazing.
I'm still learning. I'm not fully there, but the rest, then that's my outlet.
Well, it comes from within, and learning. Yeah, I understand, but still, it must be something that's inside you that needs to come out.
I do agree. I agree. I feel like with art, it's anytime that we have any feelings and we want to express things that mere words and just a dialogue can't convey and hold that space that's needed, we turn towards art. It's another outlet for expressing all those deep desires, fears, love, and there's so many different emotions that can be embodied and expressed through art that I feel like just words can't fully. Well, I want to correct that, because there's poetry, and poetry can capture art in a very beautiful way, but just a simple conversation, I feel like
absolutely, because it's also not just that you as a painter do or express, but it's also the viewer. I find that sometimes you look at an artwork and it really speaks to you in such a way that that it evokes an emotion. And I had this experience where I once visited an artist, and he in his studio, and there was a painting, and he was busy with the painting. And when I saw the painting, I actually got goosebumps.
Mhm.
And when he told me the story of the painting and what he was painting, I really had this very strong emotion, and I never had that with the paint, with
Oh,
looking at a
wow.
painting. So then I realized it's how powerful it is, that you will look at a lot of paintings, but there's this one or a few paintings that will really speak to you. And I think that is that expression also from the viewer.
Yes, I think art in all different forms and mediums, it's kind of like a dance. It takes two to tango. It takes the artist to express himself or herself, and the viewer and the audience, they interpret their own story. And that's what I love about films and movies in general, because it provides this canvas of, here, we'll take you on a journey, but we'll have this kind of roadmap of where this trajectory of story is going to go. And you, the audience, can project your own experiences and your own interpretation onto this, and therefore go on this journey with us as if you were living through this story or this
Exactly.
experience or this time frame, which would not be possible in this physical realm unless through these different mediums. So it always takes two. And I love how when I was younger, I feel like art has layers, like an onion or a cake. And the more you dive into it, and the older you get, at least for myself, that was the case, I was able to understand deeper layers where I, before I would look at a piece of painting and I would wonder, okay, what is it trying to tell me? What was the artist trying to, I was thinking from the point of view of the artist, what are they trying to say? But now I've developed this point of view where when I look at a piece of art, I start to really think about, what am I taking away from
Oh,
this piece of
yeah.
art? What is my perception of what this artist put on the canvas or on a film or on a piece of paper? It's their
That's
way
right.
of,
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't thought of it that way, but yeah, that's a wonderful way to look at it.
yeah, I really believe that what I see and the person next to me sitting and looking at the same painting would not be identical, because our experiences are not the same. Two people have
Exactly.
never lived the same life. And we, at the end of the day, are a collection of experiences and memories all wrapped in a suit of flesh, which is
Yeah.
very beautiful.
Yeah, that's so true. But this is, I mean, you are definitely thinking a lot about this, and you have this. It's deep thinking. I mean, about all these things. But now your journey from, I mean, you come from Canada, but
Yes.
were you born in Canada?
No, I was born in Iran and I moved to Canada when I was really young, in grade 2. And my journey has been one of being all over the world and kind of traveling back and forth. But I was born in Iran. I was raised in Toronto, Canada. I moved back for high school. I did a year of engineering there before going back to Canada and then studying psychology. And then from that, I transitioned into acting. So the thinking that
Amazing.
you're witnessing is a
Yeah.
foundation beneath all of it, because human behavior and the way we just operate fascinates me on another level, which art really is one of the ways of tapping into that human element and essence that we all carry with us. And whenever I hear anyone say that, oh, I can't do art, or art is not for me, or I'm not an artist, I always want to tell them, you've just never given yourself a chance.
Yeah.
You're shutting it down before. We all have it in us. We all have our inner artists. It's just how much space have you provided for that muscle to strengthen and grow?
Yeah, and this is so my my passion is to think about our children and the education system and how we can use art in the education system to tap into all these facets of ourselves, and to then also enrich the children and let them have a better education because of it. But it's fascinating that because I have that also in common. I grew up in South Africa and then moved to Europe. Yeah, so it's these cultural differences that you pick up, and I think that also makes you look at life a little bit differently.
Oh, definitely. And this past year, I've been playing a little bit of a Marco Polo kind of journey where I've been traveling to gain more experience and just open my view. And I've been in LA, in Vienna, and Athens so far. And wow, my mind has been blown on so many levels. Just the difference in, I don't even know where to get started. It gets me so excited trying to even bring all of these into one sentence to translate what I'm trying to think. But when I got here and seeing the difference in culture, in the history, in the weather, in the region, how that translates into people, how they interact with each other, how the communities that are built. It's fascinating, and how that translates into how people express themselves through art. That again is a whole nother level, and you could see it in all these different parts, and it just amplifies that whole aspect that we are so unique, and cultures add so much flavor and so much depth to that layer of artistry that we all have and possess within ourselves.
And it's true what you say. And it's I come from an industrial town in South Africa where we didn't have a theater, and it's a very young town, so it's even the architecture is different. And for me to walk in Vienna, I take in everything, because for me everything is so different, and I sometimes wonder, people who grew up here, who see it every day, if they also still are amazed about a building or the architecture or something like that. And in that sense, I sometimes feel fortunate that I come from something that's quite so different into this world, and that I can experience it, like new. For me, it's new.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like walking around, especially because I have my dog, I'm constantly walking outside. I feel like a child walking with amazement and wonder, and I'm so excited. And I'm the kind of person, I don't hide it. For me, it doesn't matter if I'm on the street or wherever it is. If I see something that's bewildering, I will stand there and just stare in astonishment. And that's how I've been and I had the same thought. I wondered, are other people as excited walking around seeing all this architecture? My eyes are having an orgasm just looking around every single day, and it doesn't get tiring. But what I also find very interesting is that even when you say you come from an industrial kind of environment where you didn't have as many vibrant buildings, maybe, that itself is a form of beauty that for someone that may have lived here, that may have been such a out of norm experience to witness the industrialized version of where we went with life. It's another chapter in this experience of humans that we just keep
Well, Yeah, well, you just make me think now. Maybe that's why I always want tools for Christmas instead of flowers or something else.
Making you
It's
feel like home.
it's my industrial background.
That's very interesting.
But so you said that you first studied engineering, and what made you then be interested in theater and in acting?
For me, I feel like being a performer has always been something that's been within me. And it's always been something that I've had this longing for. Growing up in a Persian family, there were set of academic standards that thinking that that is the way to success and being able to provide for yourself, you should all pursue these kind of things. And art was not very much of a, you can successfully make a career out of this. It's very rare. So I was kind of nudged in the direction of the academic realm. And in Iran, as we were talking about the educational system is in a way where you have to pick a category of education. So either mathematics, physics, biology, humanities, or arts in your high school. And you can only go into university programs related into that field, depending on what you've gone into. And art was not taken as seriously as want, at least for what I wanted to do. So it was the option of, okay, mathematics, biology, and humanities. I did not like memorizing things. Biology kind of grossed me out. So mathematics it was. And then the options that were available were engineering programs. So I went into urban design, which had a bit of art in it after architecture, which my sister went into architecture. So I didn't want to follow in the footsteps. But it was a matter of after 2 semesters of doing engineering and studying that, my parents kind of witnessed that this is truly not what I want to do. And I'm constantly looking for outlets and anything I can just dip my toe into with an ounce of art or space to express. So they offered me the opportunity to go back to Canada and study whatever I want. But at that point, I knew I wanted the art, but I was still not in a place where I had the strength to fully pursue it because it had been put on this pedestal. And anytime I would watch movies, I would feel this urge and this longing that I would give an arm and a leg just to be in that situation and just see what, when they call cut, what happens after, what that's the fascinating part to me. And how did you study and get ready to play this character? And how did you embody all these emotions and feelings? So when I decided to go back to Canada and I was allowed to study whatever I want, I was not sure what I wanted to do. And I didn't think I could pursue an art program because I didn't have a portfolio or anything to provide for the entrance exams and whatnot. So I decided to go into psychology because I wanted to understand the human brain. I wanted to understand myself and I wanted to understand other people and I wanted to understand why we do what we do. And fast forward 5 years later, I get my degree and I made my decision that it is now or never. I wanted this so bad. It has not left me for a single day. And if I don't do this, if I don't pursue it, I will regret this at a point of my life. And I cannot live with regret. That is one of my promises to myself that I cannot try. Worst case scenario, you fail. And then you know it's not for you. And then you move on to something else, right? Instead of, oh, I wish. That to me sounds, oh, it just gives me the chills. So after psychology, I applied to film school, auditioned, and then got in, and then the rest is history.
Wow. And then how did that progress then at film school? I mean, was it then, did you feel, okay, now I'm living the dream, or now I'm there?
It wasn't that I'm living the dream, it was that I'm living the journey, because that there's never been a final goal and destination. And through acting, I was able to not only get to further know myself. Psychology allowed me to understand my brain and the human cognition. Acting allowed me to get in touch with my body and with my presence. It was so fascinating to see through that journey of school. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know where my voice was coming from. I didn't know how to properly stand and use my body structure. All of that brought all these little elements into the picture and fine-tuned me. And through that, I started to discover more and more about my voice, about what I want to express, what is interesting, what stories I want to tell. And I got to write, direct, and play in my own short film for our thesis, which was such a mind-blowing journey. And that was a cherry on top. That once that was done and completed, I could not get enough. And just wanted more and more. And that just opened the way to a whole bunch of different avenues where film and theater are one aspect, but then you've got live performances, which is something that I personally very navigate to. Being the entertainer of the family as a child, I kind of build this persona in a sense of I will entertain you and this. So that played into the future experiences that I had, where I even got to be a magician's assistant for a 3.5 months production. It was so mind-blowing. My inner child was just jumping for joy when I got that audition and when I got the gig. It was so cool to see how things were done behind the scenes. And it was, again, this amazement and excitement is what came with all of the other aspects of going into film and theater. It opened a lot of avenues.
But again, it's also maybe that the fact that you had to go through a time where you really knew, okay, this was what I wanted to do. So you did something else and then you got there, and then it almost makes you appreciate everything then so much more, because it was just not a given.
Yes. And it's interesting because I remember the first year in engineering and the first year in psychology, I wasn't as serious. And, you're a new freshman and you're just kind of exploring university and all that. But my first year in acting, and I took a condensed program because at that point I had done 6 years of postgraduate. So it was a matter of, okay, I'm here to learn. I have no time to waste. Give me the information and let me go. And I could see the difference in our class because we started with 2 classes, our entry, 2 classes of 18 and 17. And then by the end of the program, there was 1 merged class of 12 that graduated. So I could see the contrast of how there were the younger versions of me where they were enjoying the experience, but it was more of, okay, let's see what's there. And I was there like with laser vision focused. And I found it funny a bit how I would sometimes get a little frustrated when some of the other students wanted to disturb their class in the sense of kind of, let's get the teacher not to, let's distract them. Don't distract the teacher. So yeah, it makes you be very focused. And you know what you want, so you're there for a reason.
And then, what is your or what do you prefer then? Do you prefer in front of the camera or behind the camera? Well, you've done both now.
I've done both, but I can't. That's a question that I love both. I can't pick because they're two different. It's kind of asking, do you like apples and oranges? They're two different experiences. Anything that's performance and live, you will develop such a strong, beautiful bond with the people you're working with because you're practicing and you got to do for example, with the magician assistant, we did the first day that we opened, I believe I did 23 runs of the same show in one day. So to have that level of interaction, it's a community. That's an experience on its own. And then the thrill of being on stage, it's like no other. It's a roller coaster that is so enthralling. It makes you feel alive on another level. And then with film, you get to be able to create things that being able to do in a live situation isn't as easy because you have the elements of being able to cut and effect and all these different elements. So you're able to tell stories and you're able to get into that level of, okay, let me go into that really deep, dark place that I want to portray as this. Because I've been cast a few of the short films that I've done. I've been cast as the mom, and I tend to kill my children. And the one yes, one accidentally, another one on purpose. But it's to get to that level of okay, now you got to kind of portray a mother who has accidentally ran over a child trying to escape from an abusive husband. That takes a level of and to be able to get into that and then play with that and then have the effects of lighting and this whole village that comes together to make a movie. Again, it's two different worlds, but both feel like play to me. They feel I get so much joy that sometimes I feel like I'm cheating. I'm like, this is so much fun. Am I actually working here? So,
but that's great if it's like, if it is like that for you. But this is not the easiest career. I mean, you really have to. The competition is very fierce, and also, like with many things, and in the arts, it's sometimes about who you know and the connections and being at the right place at the right time. So, yeah.
I definitely agree with connections. Connections, that's something that was made evident to me when I went to LA for an event. So I've, again, being an artist, and as you said, with the difficulties of breaking into the industry, you kind of learn how to have your hands in a few different baskets and kind of utilize your craft in different ways. So one of the things that, especially during the pandemic, I turned to was live streaming, as we all needed more connections. And it was kind of my way of being able to connect and also practice my skills on a daily basis. And because of that, I was invited to an event in LA. And in the 2 weeks that I was there, I made so many connections just with the simple dialogue. Then I was trying to do, mind you, it was COVID when I was trying to connect with people in Toronto. In the past year that I was trying to work as an actor during COVID, which again, I understand that the level of work was low and all that came with that whole experience that we all went through. But it's so key because a lot of the opportunities get filled before they even make it to the level that would be open for even casting to send that out. So connection is very important. Right place, right time definitely makes such a big difference. I feel like it's a little dance. So you got to know the right people, make sure you have your skills and hone your craft well enough so you're always ready to go. So when someone pops in and then at that moment something's going, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. You need me? Haha. So it's a dance, it's a medley.
But is that also why you do all the different things like dancing and singing and acting? Does it come natural to you?
For me, dancing is definitely something that's natural. I haven't been professionally trained. It's something that I picked up as I grew up. I've always been a hands-on learner. So the same way we were talking about education system, I've always been much of a self-taught learner in a way, because the way I learn is that I'm visual. So I need to see, once I see something, and if I'm given the space and also the tools, as in being able to ask questions the way that I need to comprehend and fill in the gaps, then I can literally copy paste what I'm seeing. So with dance, that's what it happens, seeing people dance and videos and whatnot. And then what I feel with dance is that it's this little wave, and I feel like it just moves me. I feel like music is this puppet master, and I've always been this puppet that just flows with just hearing the sounds. And it's so interesting because recently I did this chakra dance meditation workshop where it was mind-blowing how the different chakras had a different wave of music that they played, and how that brought out different styles of dancing. And this is what I love about life, that everything I've done so far has in a way contributed to where I am right now, and kind of bringing all these little tiny elements to paint a bigger picture. So a couple of years ago, I did a music video. It was a Persian music video, and they asked me to do Sufi whirling, which is this dance that the Sufi dervish, they would do. It brings you into a state of trance, and it's a lot of twirling around, and there's a whole science behind it with the speed that you start, and you got to keep the momentum the same so the liquid in your ear does. So there's a whole lot of that, and because of that music video, I learned how to do this dance. Now fast forward to 2 years later, during this meditation, when they were playing the music that was in line with the heart chakra. Was it the heart chakra or was it the throat? I'm confusing the two. But my body started to just very naturally and instinctively spin, and then it started to emulate that same movement, and it all clicked, and I was just like, oh,
really? Yeah.
What you were doing, this makes so much sense. And then also with Tibetan kind of tribal dance, it's in your sacral chakra, and it has a lot of kind of like, how babies, when they're doing the thrusting, that's again, it was amazing to see how my body naturally, instinctively wanted to do those movements. And then doing some research, finding out that the thrusting movement of your pelvic moves your sacrum, which helps the liquid in your brain, the brainstem, move faster, which that's the golden liquid that they say, the gold, that's what helps you regenerate your cells. So it was fascinating to see that all of these play into our internal being.
And so just proof again how the sciences and how that and science and art and all these things, they come together, and I mean they are so interlinked.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's a holistic approach. It's mind, body, and soul. Physical is science, and then your soul is that whole artistic aspect that comes from. So for me, it was a very instinctual way of learning it. Singing, though, hasn't come to me as naturally and instinctively, and I'm still working on honing my voice. But in the realm of acting, especially with the competition that is around nowadays, it is the more tools you have in your arsenal, the better your odds of being able to stand out in situations. But one other factor is that now there's a lot of emphasis on actors and artists creating their own stories in order to provide that space to be able to practice their craft in. So in school, we were taught, apart from acting, a brief introduction into production and all the other elements that play into making a film, because you have to be, in some sense, a one-man band now that you all your self-tapes yourself and send it in and edit it. But it's becoming a whole holistic approach to
but this is what I ask many artists is, that side of things where, yes, you practice, and you say musicians, they practice their instruments, and they work to try and get to the best level they can. But then it's this, where do you get the work, or where do you get the money? And you have to create yourself, and this is this is part of also of the career of the artists, that they can create their own work and or their own income, in that sense, that they're not so dependent on big companies and so on.
I feel like that's in part due to the change in the structure of the industry as well, because it's taking a turn more towards, it's not a big company that now, it's not MGM and Warner Brothers that only dictates who gets what and what movies are produced. There's a lot of indie production companies that are coming in, and the ability that we have now with our smartphones, for example, just the camera qualities that we have and all these different tools that any person can have access to with not having to spend an arm and a leg to acquire, has provided this new way where, okay, you're not gonna hire me, I'm gonna go create it, and then here I'll showcase, not only I'll tell my story, but I'll showcase what my capabilities are. And then through that, what I found, and one thing that has been very instrumental in my personal artistic career, is again that connection and word of mouth. From working on one set, you connect with someone that wants you on their film for that set, and then so on and so forth. And this connection and networking that you do as an artist, which I believe is one of the key components, is what kind of allows you to create and collaborate. Collaboration has become the new method of being able to put your art out there and not wait for an opportunity, but create your own.
But it's like these collaborations also, this brings it brings so much more, because when you collaborate with another artistic mind, then of course you create something that you yourself wouldn't have been perhaps done on your own. So so that's amazing. And that you are taught that as well, or that you are made aware of it when you study.
Yes. And I feel like there's so much learning that happens too whenever you collaborate with different artists. As you said, everyone brings their own little color palette into the mix. And for me, the biggest teachers in my life have been the people I've encountered. And I've been blessed to be able to meet a lot of people and encounter a lot of different stories, and their stories are not just stories, but it's lessons, it's hardships, heartaches, love, all these different things that if you take a second to look at, you can sometimes take a few of those elements and add it to your arsenal and kind of embody that level. For example, I worked with a Persian director in the summer. Well, not summer, in September, almost after summer. And the way that she was so proud of her roots and she was telling this story, it just sparked this part inside me, this sort of asleep part of me that is linked to my roots and my culture, where I may have kind of distanced myself for a little while, trying to fit into the other side, and seeing that, interacting with her, collaborating with her on her vision and project was such an inspiring encounter that motivated me to start a few different ventures on my own. So again, you never know what can come out of that interaction and collaboration.
Oh, but that's wonderful. And but your energy is just absolutely amazing. I mean, really.
And same with you.
No, and I mean, I remember when we met each other at the 1st of January, 2024, just because our dogs.
What was the word for it? We were
a route into the new year, the German route, into the new year.
Yeah, they're sliding into the new year.
But so wonderful. But talking about the new year, but what are your wishes now? Not just for the year, but for the future. What is the big dream now for you?
For me, right now, I'm in the pursuit of a few different projects that I have cooking up. But one of the things that has been really pulling on my heartstrings is being able to hold space for not just artists, but whoever requires a little bit of space and love, and to share that with my community and pass that forward. Now, the method and the medium I'm trying to still kind of figure out, and this chakra dance has been such an inspiring interaction again that is making me further do research, because if that's it's definitely a calling. So one of my hopes for this new year is to be able to create a community where I can, with collaboration of the rest, provide that canvas or that space or that method of telling someone's story or whatever can aid in the collective healing that we are all trying so hard to kind of embark on. It's been a very interesting year we all experienced, and I don't think I'm the only one that says that there's a lot of healing and a lot of love that needs to be.
I think a lot of change for everybody as well. And I think a lot of people, and I don't know if it was the pandemic, but a lot of people also questioned what they were doing and really if it was worth it. And I think this is but amazing what you are doing, and that you are, it's in a way serving people as well.
I believe that the pandemic provided a pause, the same way that meditation does. It provided that little gap between constant go, 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 to sit there for a second and then, wait, why am I going constantly? Okay, and questioning, and your mind catching up with your body is what kind of brought this level of, okay, let's rethink my strategy of life. Why am I doing this? What is the purpose? Is it bringing me joy? And people realizing this and then speaking up about it made other people also realize it. And then it just became like a little domino effect that just passed it forward. But at the end of the day, I feel service to others has always brought me joy, being able to share the love, because I always said it in my little show that in a world where you can be anything, choose to be kind, because it only amplifies with being shared and it doesn't take away from anything or anyone. So I feel we really, really could use more of that. And if I can be a facilitator, if I can hold space, then hey, that brings me joy, and that brings others joy, then hey, win-win all the way around.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. And you are so creative, you know, that I'm sure you will inspire as well everybody.
Oh, thank you. Creativity always, my imagination has always been very, very active since I was a kid. And it's fascinating to be able to play, even as an adult, have that part of you be very active, and the opportunity. And I feel I am very blessed. I am very blessed, and I'm very grateful for being able to pursue this, despite the fact that I worked and I fought tooth and nail to get to this point. It wasn't handed to me. Everything in my path was telling me, no, you cannot do this. Oh, you think da da da. And I've always had this mindset. If I want something, the world cannot stop me. But if I don't want to do something, the world cannot make me do it. So
exactly.
That has been a big contributor into being able to pursue my creativity and let it flourish, because it's a muscle. Again, the more you practice it, the stronger it will get.
Exactly. But now, how long are you in Vienna for?
I will be here until the end of January, and I'm going to be going back to Toronto for a month or two.
Okay.
Give or take. There's a project that I'm going to be doing there, and then after that, the world is
open for you. Yeah. Amazing. Oh, wow. And really, this has been so great to talk to you. I'm so happy that I saw you in Stadtpark, in the beautiful Stadtpark. It was a absolute no coincidence that I met you.
It was so serendipitous. It was such a magical moment. And thank you for doing this, for providing the space and the platform to not only see artists, but give them the little time to express themselves. And
it's a pleasure. I love it. I feel very privileged that people share their stories with me. And I always believe that whoever needs to hear an interview or whoever needs to hear an artist's story, it's out in the world now. So there's somebody will hear it.
You're very good at it. And you definitely provide that comfortable, relaxed space
thank you
for
so much.
Being able to share.
Thank you so
for
much.
that.
I appreciate it. But Sani, have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely afternoon as well.